Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we're going to be talking about WWF Raw on the Sega Genesis. My opinions on the gameplay are a little mixed on this one. I like how many game modes were added to this game. There is an awful lot to do, and it makes it fun to kind of go through and play the different matches that they offer. However, and thankfully this is the last time I have to talk about it, the control scheme is still really annoying because each character plays the exact same, even though they do have their own special moves that you can do. One cool thing, you can play with up to 4 players with this one, assuming that you have the multi-tap and 3 friends who want to go back and play a game from 30 years ago. I didn't have that, so I did not try out the 4-player mode on this one. I don't really remember even using any of like the 4-score or whatever Sega called their multi-tap adapter. Mostly because I just wasn't that old, and I wasn't old enough really to play that. And yeah, by the time we started playing a lot of multiplayer games, we had moved on to like the N64 and the Dreamcast. But besides that, let's get back to WWF Raw. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of game modes in this game. I don't really have a favorite one, but there are quite a few ones in here. Like you have the one-on-one match, you have the tag team match, you have a Bedlam match, which is kind of like the Brawl from the previous one. You have the Survivor Series, and you have the Royal Rumble. And then there's also an endurance match. And then once you select one of these, you'll have like some other menus as well, much like the previous one, where you can do another Brawl or a Bedlam, and you also have like a tournament or the regular match. It's kind of fun to have all this stuff in here because it gives you a lot of different options to play this game, and it just lets you really have fun with it. However, each wrestler has the same basic set of moves, and the game's still saddled with that annoying tug-of-war button-mashing control scheme from the other Acclaim, LJN, and Flying Edge games. There are special moves in this. I only was able to see the CPU doing those, as I was just completely unable to pull any of those things off. And really, I just stuck with the punches and kicks and the grapple moves because those were kind of easier to do. As much as I don't like the control scheme, it felt a lot easier to use here, which wasn't my experience on the Super Nintendo. But there are a lot of difficulty spikes in this, and it can feel way harder than it really needs to. And it also uses that same stupid 1 to 10 difficulty scale that we saw in Royal Rumble. I do like that you can knock the referee out. That's kind of fun, even though it didn't really do anything, or at least nothing that I noticed. It was kind of cool that I could do it, though. Overall, I like the fact that there are a lot of game modes, but yeah, I really do not like the control scheme in these games. This is the best looking of the 3 games, specifically the Flying Edge, Acclaim, and LJN games. I think the character sprites have gotten a lot better. It doesn't look like the developers used the same character model in this one, or at least they did a better job of making changes to the model to try to hide that. It just looks a lot better than the previous 2 games. The ring, the crowd, and the animations for your moves all look very good. And yeah, there is one thing that I didn't like. There are no ring entrances here, which is kind of disappointing. When we look at Saturday Night Slam Masters, I should say, they have like these sort of, not really elaborate, but they have ring entrances for all the characters. And it would have been cool if they had been able to do them here, but they don't, and it's kind of how can I put this? Kind of stupid that they just start off in the ring and you don't see them moving into it. Even with the WrestleMania arcade game, they had some kind of a ring entrance where you see the characters run to the ring, but here it just starts up after you select your player, you're both in the ring, and then you guys start fighting. That was a little disappointing to see. This is a really good looking game. The graphics are nice, the characters look pretty good, and the moves are nice to look at. It is the best looking of the 3 Sega Genesis games from Acclaim, basically. It's that from that standpoint, it's a really nice game to look at, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't really like it as much because I can't get past the control scheme. The roster is pretty good in this game. It's better than some of the other WWF games I've played, but one weird thing that I was confused on when I played the Super Nintendo game, and it's just as confusing here, is why Luna Vachon is in the game. It just kind of feels odd to me. I'll talk more about that in a second, but the characters in the game are Razor Ramon, Lex Luger, the 1-2-3 Kid, Doink, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Owen Hart, Yokozuna, Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Luna Vachon, and Bam Bam Bigelow. The reason I think it's weird to have Luna in this game is she's the only female wrestler in the game. So it creates this odd thing where you have to go and beat up Luna. And Luna can beat you up as well, so she acts exactly the same as the other male wrestlers. But I don't know why she needed to be in this game, or if the WWF roster was that light that they needed to throw her in because nobody else would sign their likeness rights over for this video game. It seems like a really odd thing that is in this. It is a question that I would like to try to find the answer to, but I just don't think that answer is even out there because, again, this is a 30-year-old video game that probably no one really cares too much about, so trying to find out why certain wrestlers were included and certain ones were left out is most likely just lost to time. When I looked over the wrestlers, at least the ones that SmackDown Hotel has, it seemed odd that Luna was there. The women's roster was very light, so you weren't going to have a lot of women's wrestlers in the video game, but that still just makes her stand out more in this, and it's a very strange entry in this game. This is a decent wrestling game. It isn't my favorite wrestling game on the console, but it does have a lot going for it. The graphics are pretty good, the roster's pretty great, and yeah, there are a ton of game modes for you to play. Not having a story mode it's kind of a disappointment, but it's not a huge problem for this because none of these games on the 8 and 16-bit systems really had a story mode or a storyline going into it. You were supposed to create that on your own. I think I've hammered home the whole Luna Vachon thing, so I'm just going to skip the paragraph of nonsense I wrote here. I'm glad that I went back and I played some of these games a little bit more because I might have been a bit too harsh on the Super Nintendo version of WWF Raw and also WWF Royal Rumble. It is a different experience playing these in order now. Just seeing how the developer was able to change things around to try to make the best game that they could, even if I don't like the end product all that much, or I don't like it as much as something like Saturday Night Slam Masters. Anyway, thankfully I am done talking about these games, and I don't have to mention their control scheme ever again. So, yeah, let's just wrap this one up. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye.